The action continues in Tel Aviv. Now we make our way into the women's floor and men's parallel bar stage of the competition. Let's have a look at the contenders. Margot Dondois, medalist yesterday. Lihiratz of Israel, 7th best in qualification. European Championship medalist on floor in 2020. Noreen Boyer, who's just won the balance beam title. Alba Patisco of Spain, World Cup champion on floor. Morgane Ossisek of France, Mediterranean Games medalist on floor. Georgia Godwin of Australia, national champion. Ilia Tolle of Belgium, just her second senior international competition. Nazanin Temurova of Azerbaijan, who's already a regular World Cup finalist on floor at just 15. On the men's parallel bars, Pavel Gulidov of Israel, 5th best in qualification. 2nd best in qualification and going for his 3rd title of the weekend, Christopher Mezaros. Mitch Morgans of Australia, 4 times a World Cup medalist. Ferhat Arajan of Turkey, the bronze medalist at the Olympic Games. Tiano Diallo of Spain, bronze medalist at the European Championships. Ahmed Under of Turkey, World Championship silver medalist in 2019. Glenn Trebing of Germany, silver medalist at last year's National Championships. And Uri Zeidel of Israel, part of the team that won the Maccabi Games title last year. Those are your contenders. Thus we are set to begin the women's floor competition. The last event for women at this World Challenge Cup in Tel Aviv, and the penultimate event for the men, the parallel bars final. Such a great juxtaposition. The freedom of the expansive space of the largest apparatus in gymnastics and the confinement of those parallel bars. They both have their distinct and different challenges. If you're someone like Christopher Mezaros, you can excel on the floor and on the parallel bars. So let's have a look at the qualification numbers in the parallel bars competition. The top performer, Ferhat Arajan, with a score of 15.1. He was roughly 1 million points ahead of the second placed gymnast. It certainly felt like it anyway. Christopher Mezaros, 14.15. That's a 0.95 gap between Arajan and the second best performer in qualifications. So I think it's time to employ that popular cliche, it is Arajan's to lose, as you would expect from somebody of his experience and quality on the apparatus. Twice the European champion, a medalist at the last Olympics. He is magnificent on the parallel bars. But an error from Arajan and it will open the door, maybe only a fraction ajar, because he has got room to lose a little and still win the title, because his difficulty is very high. Arajan's difficulty 6.5. That's almost half a mark better than Mezaros. On floor, the top performer in qualification was Georgia Godwin, 13.467. The second best, Morgane Ossisek, 13.233. Waiting in the wings, the first gymnast in the women's floor final, and a gymnast who really was so impressive on the uneven bars yesterday, despite a problem. The potential abundantly clear.
I think we are ready on floor, ladies and gentlemen. As soon as we get a sign of God, God is a judge today. We can start. There we go. First exercise on floor for Belgium.
Margot Dondoin of Belgium, the first to go in this women's floor final. She was the third best in qualification with a score of 13.067. Once again, it is clear that this is a gymnast of substantial quality and of high potential. Yes, a problem with the last tumbling pass in particular for Margot Dondoin. However, there's reason to be really optimistic about what she will produce at international level. So the men's parallel bars competition. Israel's Pavel Gulidov, fifth best in qualification with 13.6. Looking pretty clean and secure so far. The gymnast with the lowest difficulty of any of the qualifiers, but his execution is nice. Good tidy handstands. Little form break there. Beautiful fluid motion bringing the heels together. Pretty secure dismount as well from Pavel Gulidov of Israel, the 23-year-old. He's had an enjoyable competition in his home city. The score for Margot Dondoin is 12.267. Now we go to Lihi Gratz. The gymnast who won a bronze medal at the European Championships on floor in 2020. Seventh best in qualifying, 12.6. Room for her execution to come up a little perhaps. Lihiratz of Israel. Great reception from the Tel Aviv faithful. And watching on her teammate Pavel Gulidov. That's the reigning Israeli all-around champion, defending the title from the year before. Pavel Gulidov's score is 13.5, so he's down by 1/10 from qualification. And there is confirmation of that score. Now to Christopher Mezaros, champion on floor, champion on vault, and the second best qualifier for the parallel bars final. 14.15 his score. Smooth opening, not a flicker going into handstand. Good tidy form. Very fluid and secure looking tip out, nice. Quick snap out of it. Diamidov also quite nicely performed. Height on his straddle front somersault as well. That's a good display from Christopher Mezaros. She has a little dismount adjustment, but the execution should be quite solid for the 21-year-old. 12.767 for Lihiratz. I did say her execution had room to improve. It has done by almost a couple of tenths. Will it be enough to get her into contention? To Marine Boyer of France. 12.6 in qualification, but she won the title at the World Cup in Baku. Such a nice performance that from Marine Boyer, a gymnast with real pedigree in World Cup competition. Christopher Mezaros waits for a score to come in. and it was 14.2, so he's improved his execution by a fraction from qualification. Goes into the lead. Mitch Morgans of Australia, very well known for his work on all of the bars, horizontal and parallel. 6th best in qualifying, 13.6. Great single rail work. He's got terrific physical strength and control. Oh, and he was overarched there. It was so marginal, that reaction, indicative that he knows it. Just a few degrees of incline and it takes you absolutely offline and off the apparatus. That was going well too. It was looking like a nice display from Mitch Morgans. Good dismount. Largely a really strong display from Mitch Morgans. Marine Boyer leads 13.033. Her execution up quite considerably from qualification. She gains almost half a mark. Now, we have not Morgana Osisek, who's coming up next. This is Alba Petisco of Spain. And boy, does she attack this routine even from before it begins. Spain's Alba Petisco, who won her first World Cup title on this apparatus in Cottbus last year. Mitch Morgans with a score of 12.6. So actually the whole thing really an improvement in terms of difficulty, but a mark down from his qualification performance for obvious reasons. To Ferhat Arujan from Turkey, bronze medalist at the Olympic Games, 2 times a champion of Europe and the silver medalist at his home championships in Antalya earlier this month, or last month actually, because times have moved on quickly. In fact, it was April, this is already June. Ignore everything I'm saying, I've no idea what the date is, but I do know he's very good at the parallel bars. Very difficult routine, this. Now that he's had issues with on a number of occasions, the overarch at the back on the single rail, but he has got difficulty that allows him a little execution to burn. That was brilliant. 90-degree turn was so sharp. Little flickers though, and those paces with the hands causing some problems. Little tenths here and there will come off. Nonetheless, it's a packed display. His Diamondov work is extremely impressive. Oh, he saved that with one of the most extraordinary lunges. Now, I did say he had execution to burn. He has burned quite a lot of it. Maybe too much, we'll have to see. But the lunge to hold that dismount, even if it just ends up saving him a tenth or two, could be crucial. Alba Patisco, 13.167. She goes into the lead. She gains half a mark plus from qualification. That's a 0.6 improvement for Alba Patisco. Just a brief reminder of what we've seen so far in the women's floor competition at the halfway mark. Very good display, such assured tumbling from Alba Patisco. His score in qualification was 15.1. It certainly is not going to be anything like that high. 13.6. Oh, a shake of the head from a disappointed Ferhat Arujan, and Christopher Mizaros now has got a very good chance of getting his 3rd gold medal of the competition. And for Arujan, well, he is still in 2nd place, and it's probably that success he had in avoiding completely going to ground on the dismount that has kept him just ahead by a single tenth of Pavel Gulidov. But it's not the sort of position one expected him to be in. Arujan's difficulty, the same as qualification, 6.5, but he was a mark and a half down in execution. Morgan Osisek from France. .233 in qualification, the 2nd best. She has got some huge tumbling work in that performance. Morgan Osisek. It was back at a top 12 event, a domestic competition in last year's first part of the season. I think it was about April or so that she did a double twisting, double tuck for that opening pass. And everybody just sat up and thought, wow, this is a very exciting tumbler we've got here. And it really is evident throughout all of her performances that she is an assured and accomplished gymnast in flight on floor. Have a look back at this performance from Morgan Osisek. There is that belter of an opening pass. On the subject of belters, the European Championship bronze medalist Tierno Diallo of Spain. 13.6 in qualification. He had a wonderful time in Antalya. Very elegant and clean gymnast. Calls from the sidelines of Tranquilo to keep it calm. It does seem to be very calm. Big old Bavzar. Now positions for his tip held. Isn't that nice? Does have a little shimmy as he hits the handstand, but he dismounts well. Tierno Diallo from Spain. Only the 7th best in qualification. Well, surely she's got to be up there after that display. Into the lead goes Morgan Osisek-Reimer, 13.367. An improvement from qualification. And now we go to the top qualifier, Georgia Godwin, who scored exactly 1/10 higher in the preliminary round than we've just seen in the final from Morgan Osisek. She bids farewell to this competition, but we will see much more of her in due course. Georgia Godwin of Australia, as the score of 14.15 comes in for Tierno Diallo, just 500ths behind Christopher Mesaros. Big improvement from qualification. To Ahmet Under of Turkey. 8th best in qualification, but he's got the difficulty to contend. And he won the silver medal at the World Championships 4 years ago. Had a tricky time in the floor final. Sat down on his opening tumbling pass. That took a lot of strength, but he did have to go in instalments into that handstand. Just making little adjustments here and there that might slightly tamper with the execution score, but he did get some elevation in the front straddle somersault. It's a light and well-controlled dismount from Ahmet Under. That might well make a bit of a mockery of his qualification score. What about Georgia Godwin? Has she managed to go ahead? Yes, she has. 13.567 for Georgia Godwin. It is an improvement from qualification of just a single tenth. And that's enough to give her a 2/10 advantage over Morgane Ossisek. Key there for Godwin, that 5.8 difficulty score. Now we look at Hilaire Tolle of Belgium, 5th best in qualification. You can spot Belgium a mile off on floor, and they're always so enjoyable to watch. The choreography has purpose, it's different, it's inventive. 14.35 for Ahmet Under. I suggested it might make a mockery of his qualification performance. He's gone into the lead. But just back to that display from Hilaire Tolle. A nice musical interpretation of a rather unusual version of Rodrigo's Concierto de Aranjuez. And she has a style to how she performs. Nice to watch. Now Glenn Trebing of Germany on the parallel bars. 3rd best in qualification, 14.1. Something similar would put him in the mix. Germany has done a good number on parallel bars over the years. That was very fluid and poised from Glenn Trebing. His difficulty is not anything like the difficulty of that gentleman, Ahmet Under. That is certainly not Ahmed Under's score. But Elia Tolle did get a score of 12.8. Now to Nazanin Temurova of Azerbaijan. Last to go in this women's floor competition. Fourth best in qualification, 12.867. Nazanin Temurova from Azerbaijan brings to a close this women's floor competition, and we're getting very used to seeing her in floor competitions at World Cup level. Fourth place for Glenn Trebing with one to go, just missing out. 14 exactly. And we have a final performance to come, and it is from one of the home hopes, Uri Zeidel. Needs to be exceptionally crisp if he is to contend. From a difficulty standpoint, he doesn't have quite the luxury of those top gymnasts on the leaderboard, but he's got some very nice work on the piece. 21-year-old Uri Zeidel. And it's a pretty special occasion for him. He's made multiple finals in Tel Aviv. Nazanin Temurova with a score of 12.6, so she is in 7th position. But what a good season she's had in terms of the number of finals she's made. Doha, Baku, Cairo, 3 World Cup finals. She also made her European Championship debut senior level in Antalya. It means it's a victory for Georgia Godwin, with Morgan Osisek Reimer in second place and Alba Petisco taking the bronze, just ahead of Marine Boyer by slightly more than a tenth. For Uri Zeidel, a score of 13.2. His execution down by 0.6 from qualification, difficulty the same, and that makes it a very good win for Ahmed Under. We'll bring you the classified results right now. The bronze medal in the women's floor competition to Spain's Alba Petisco, silver to Morgan Osisek Reimer of France, and the gold medal won by Australia's Georgia Godwin. Commiserations to Marine Boyer, just missing out. In the men's parallel bars competition, bronze to Tierno Diallo of Spain, just as he did at the European Championships a couple of months ago. Hungary's Christopher Mészáros continues his excellent weekend with a second place finish, beaten only by Ahmed Under of Turkey, 14.35 his score. And time now, parallel bars competition. And one gymnast producing a massive performance compared to qualification, jumping from 8th to 1st place. The winner of the bronze medal, Spain's Tierno Diallo. Christopher Mészáros of Hungary, the winner of the silver medal. The title goes to a gymnast from Turkey, Ahmed Under. He must be absolutely thrilled about that. 13.4 in qualification, 14.35 in the final. A convincing win. The medalists in the men's parallel bars competition at the Tel Aviv World Challenge Cup. The familiar sounds of Niels Daniel, the Master of Ceremonies for this FIG Artistic Gymnastics World Challenge Cup in Tel Aviv. I'm sure you know his voice very well from countless international competitions over the years. The victory ceremony for the women's floor competition in Tel Aviv. The winner of the bronze medal, Spain's Alba Petisco. A real jump up from qualification. She was the 8th best in the preliminary round. Morgane Ossisek-Reimer of France, winner of the silver medal. Some terrific and high impact tumbling from the 19-year-old. The title won by Georgia Godwin of Australia. A performance worthy of taking a World Challenge Cup title. The score 13.567. A second gold medal of the weekend for Georgia Godwin. And we'll now have the national anthem of Australia. The medalists in the women's floor competition at the Tel Aviv World Challenge Cup. The first of its kind, but the second of this weekend in terms of titles won by Georgia Godwin of Australia. And we have just one more ceremony to come for the men's horizontal bar competition. So don't go too far away.